We've all had bad clients in our businesses. It happens. You're not a good fit for everyone, and not every client is a good fit for you. But here are 7 signs that you have a toxic client in your business and what to do about it. Sign number 1 that your client is a toxic fit for you is they don't respect your boundaries. If you've repeatedly set working hours, you let them know that you work between 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you've given to them, and they go beyond the boundaries again and again, you're working with somebody who has no respect for you or your business. So if you have a client that emails you or texts you or calls you at all hours, day, morning, noon, night, late night, and expects a response, that is a good sign that they are a bad client. Number 2, they are condescending and rude to you. Nobody deserves to have a condescending client, but if you work with somebody who constantly gives you disparaging comments, maybe the work you do isn't ever good enough, or, heaven forbid, they don't even respect what you do as a VA, that's not a good client for you. I actually did have a client once in my own business who said something to me along the lines of, well, virtual assistance isn't rocket science. I was floored. You and I know how much work we do as admin to keep the wheels running for our own clients' businesses, let alone running our own business. So having somebody who doesn't respect the type of work that you do is not a good sign. Toxic sign number 3, they treat you like an employee. Now, this is a really interesting one because employees are different than what we are as freelancers. Your clients and my clients, they don't hire us to do work for them 24/7 like with a traditional company. So if your clients expect you to respond or drop everything and anything so that you can do their tasks immediately, that's not a good sign either. You have to keep in mind that as a freelancer, especially as a freelance VA, we're often working with multiple people and we have things going on in our lives that require us to be able to manage our own time and tasks appropriately. Finding a client that understands that you can give them a fraction of your time is somebody who understands the VA business. Toxic sign number 4, this is kind of related to one we've already mentioned, but you can do absolutely nothing right by them. If you work for a client who's constantly unhappy with the type of work that you're turning in, it might be time to let them go. Maybe there is somebody who's a better fit for their business, or what's more likely happening, maybe there's a different client out there who's a better fit for you. Toxic sign number 5, everything is urgent. Now, if you've ever worked for clients where absolutely everything is urgent and needs to be done yesterday, you know how stressful that can be on your own business. Because again, we're giving multiple people fractions of our day, maybe an hour or 2 here, an hour or 2 there. But we are not full-time employees. We don't have time to drop everything to be able to give that kind of urgency. Now, urgent things happen. I get it. I have clients who will send me a text and need me to do something like change a flight 30 minutes before it departs. Things like that happen. And once every so often is okay. But if you have a client who's giving you urgent tasks like that 24/7, that might be a sign that it's time for you to talk to them and reestablish some boundaries about how your business works. Toxic sign number 6, they don't pay you on time. This is one of my least favorite and most hated toxic traits in clients, but there are clients who just refuse to pay you on time. I don't care if you've been working with them for months or years. I myself have had a client who could never pay on time. What I ended up doing is scheduling reminders ahead of time, the day of he owed me, sending him follow-up emails like, hey, all work is going to cease until you pay your invoice. Now, where I am in my business, I'm lucky enough to have clients who have me on automated bill pay so that at the first of every month, my fees go through automatically and no one needs to worry about it. But if you have a client who refuses to do any sort of automated banks or wires or doesn't want to give you their credit card so you can run their card, this is a sign that you might have someone who, again, doesn't take your business that seriously and doesn't feel like they need to even pay you on time. And the last big one, number 7, is that you feel anxious when you think about them. Now, this is a big one for me. Actually, in one of my courses, I talk a lot about the 80-20 principle and how knowing this rule can help change your business for the better. In a nutshell, the 80-20 principle states that 80% of something comes from 20% of something else. So what does that mean? It could mean that 80% of your stress comes from 20% of your clients. So in your own business, do you have one or two clients who cause the majority of your stress? Think about that, because that's very powerful. I did have somebody in my business years ago who caused me so much anxiety. I was constantly thinking about him, his business, the kind of urgent needs that he was asking me to do. I was losing sleep over Sunday nights because I was so worried about what kind of stuff we were going to do together on Monday. And I finally realized through using the principle that 80% of my stress was caused by this one person. So I dropped him, and all of a sudden, I felt 80% less stressed out. Now, the same thing can apply to a lot of different things in your business. For example, perhaps 80% or the bulk of your monthly income comes from 20% of your clients. I also follow this principle pretty closely. The bulk of my income comes from my largest client. So again, ask yourself these questions. Where's your stress coming from? Where's the money coming from? Where should 80% of your attention be going to? If you've identified with any of these 7 toxic traits that we've just covered, there are things that you can do about it. You don't necessarily need to drop that client immediately. I'm a big believer in giving people chances and communicating your needs. So here's what you can do if you find yourself in a toxic work relationship. First and foremost, you can let them know. Now, you don't necessarily need to say things like, you're a bad client and here's what we're going to do about it, but you can say, let's hop on the phone, or you can send them an email where you reestablish your boundaries. I've done this with one of my long-term clients several times. Now, I don't believe that all toxic behaviors are done out of malintent. I don't think clients intentionally want to be malicious or disregard your business, but I do think that sometimes they need a reminder, and that's totally fine. We, as freelance VAs, are business owners, and sometimes it is necessary for us to reconvey our parameters, our priorities, how we run our businesses, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If your clients are open to that feedback, then great, they might be worth keeping. But if your clients are absolutely not open to the type of feedback that you're giving them, or they're not liking the parameters that you're setting, then it might be time to let them go. Now, I know firing clients can feel scary, and there is a right and a wrong way to do it. So be sure to check out this video, which will help walk you through how to let a client go without burning any bridges. So hopefully you don't have any toxic clients in your roster, but if you do, take a good look at who they are, what kind of behaviors they're doing. Are they causing you the most amount of stress in your business? Is it worth talking to them? Or is it worth letting them go?